All right, what's up, fam? I actually have proof that there is a international effort to disassociate black genres from black culture and black people. Now, I would not have known this had I not engaged with Andrew Edwards in the UK. But what I found is that there are similarities between Andrew and Dr. Cologne. Both of them, in their perspective, musical interests, are doing whatever they can to strip Black Americans from particular Black genres. We all know Dr. Cologne, he's trying to do that with hip hop. He come up with this narrative, either a 50-50 narrative or a trifecta, where he talk about Caribbeans and Puerto Ricans and Black Americans are responsible for creating hip hop. Now we know that to be a lie, and thanks to microphone check, that's pretty much the nail in the coffin. But here we have in the UK, Andrew Edwards, he's trying to suggest that jazz should not be referred to as Black American music. Rather, he offers the same type of explanation. He suggests that it was a combination of different groups: Europeans, Creoles, which are mixed race people, and Black Americans. He's saying that this is not a pure African American creation. And he doesn't like the fact that people refer to jazz as Black American music. So both of these individuals are going out of their way to try to paint a different narrative. And for me, that narrative is clear. There's no such thing as Black American music. This is the goal. One genre at a time. Andrew is going to deal with jazz. Dr. Cologne is going to deal with hip hop. The goal is to create this narrative that there is no such thing as Black American music. It's just purely American music. And for me, I think this whole thing is about appropriation. I think people who are not foundational Black Americans are probably tired of being accused of appropriating. And so just imagine it, being a Black American. Think about the pride you feel knowing that the music that most of the world loves comes from you. And if you're not foundational Black Americans and you love that music, it has to be a little bit frustrating that whenever you perform the music or sing like Black Americans, or you might be accused of appropriating. They want to abolish that feeling. So they're trying to figure out a way to make Black American music just American music.
That needs to be, this conversation can be broken down in 5 minutes. So let me hold on. You did a lot of talking, brother. You did a whole lot of talking. And I took that on.
Dad talk. What's your point?
Yeah, I'm just saying you can't sum this conversation up in 5 minutes. I understand we both busy people, but let me just say this: is what is hip hop and what is Black culture? Is that one and the same, or it's two different things? Is Black culture and hip hop one and the same, sir? Is it one and the same?
Hip hop
and be it. Don't give me vague answers. Thank you. That.
Listen.
That.
All right. Black culture. Hip hop is a part of Black culture. Where hip hop is just Black culture. Hip hop is American culture.
Black culture.
Hip hop.
And that's the issue. People like China Mac reduce Black American music to American music. That is the game. I'm old enough to remember there was a time when it would be rare if you saw a European, an Asian, or a Latino singing like Black Americans. That would be rare. But thanks to the internet, people have access to Black culture and Black music. They can study it. They can transcribe it, take their time, learn the essence and the flavor of what we do. And then now, it doesn't matter where you go around the world, you can find people who are sounding like us. Let's be clear. We do it best. We do it the best. But there are people that come pretty close. And what's unfortunate, because I remember I was talking about appropriation, they want to be able to sing that way without being accused of appropriating. You see what I'm saying? And they will challenge you and say, well, that's not Black American singing style. That's the way we sing it. You know, why are you putting labels on it? The whole objective is to make Black American music just American music.
I'm 60.
Black don't quit. What is your take, Stephanie? Because I mean, especially from an artist that has seen you my whole career, and has thought of you as the diva, What is your take on the state of music right now in our climate?
I think they want R&B, but they don't want it from us.
Mm-hmm.
They want
it. Okay, it's over.
They want it from Adele and Justin Timberlake and those people. They don't want it from us. Because when you make an album and it's beautiful, or someone else makes an album, Kenny Lattimore had a wonderful album.
And we heard nothing of it.
And there's a reason to that, I guess.
So do you feel that the industry is trying to muffle us, and it goes back to social appropriation? Do you think that they're taking bits and pieces of what we are that makes us great, and then they're wanting to encapsulate that, but they're not wanting the skin?
They don't want to show the respect of where it comes from. That's why when you see...
And that's my point. Everybody loves Black culture, but hate Black people. So they want to be able to sing your music, sing like you, act like you, but don't want to pay you the decent respect that it comes from you. All right, check this out. Me and Andy been having a back and forth for a period of time when I came out with my video to counter his video about jazz not being referred to as Black American music, right? And so what I like to do sometimes is just engage people further to kind of really feel where they're coming from. Because sometimes you could say something in a video, but when you're confronted face to face, well, in this way, comment to comment, you sometimes get to hear what a person really feels. So when I try to substantiate that jazz or that blues is foundational to jazz, this was his comment, because I said blues was created by Black Americans. No question about it. It's a Black American creation. And the blues is foundational to jazz. So this is what he writes back. He says, the blues and the church music, again, are fusions. What we're talking about is Black fusions of all cultures fusing with white and Creole fusions of all cultures. So right there, he's saying that the blues is a fusion of white culture. All right, let's go on. He says, I'm not focused on ancestry, because I always accuse him, like Cologne is always focusing on, well, there were Puerto Ricans here, there were Caribbeans here. This is what Andy does. He always points out too, there were Europeans around and there were Creoles around, so it can't be Black culture alone. So these are the similarities. I'm just pointing out these similarities. He says, I'm not focused. I am focused on culture, he says too. But the claims, for example, when you use we, are ancestral claims. When basically he's saying, when I say that jazz is Black, he says, how could that be? In a sense, how can a Black American who has never listened to jazz claim ownership over a white person who has lived, eaten, and breathed jazz? Now, doesn't that sound familiar? That's Cologne when it comes to hip hop. He says, if you're not from the Bronx, you're not hip hop. Despite the fact that you're black. And despite the fact that hip hop is Black American culture, he's saying that you're not jazz if you haven't lived it, even if you're black. He says, I was hearing Ella and Duke in the rest in the cot. I guess that means his home all day, every day. That is my culture. Like Randy, it's my culture. Race and culture relates, but they are not directly equitable, he says. And then, of course, music creation, let's go to the next part, and appreciation is based upon 3 factors, he says: inheritable traits, culture, and personal history. That means if you haven't done it, you can't claim it. Personal history is by far the biggest factor, he says. If jazz belongs to anyone, it is those that love jazz. So, for example, people, you black people, if you never listened to jazz or never played an instrument in a jazz band, you can't claim jazz, according to him. Just like Cologne, if you haven't did the 5 elements, graffiti, b-boying, MCing, DJing, if you did none of that, you can't claim hip hop because you didn't practice that. That belongs to the people who actually did it. This is the same mindset. Now he goes on to talk about breaking this history of breaking this music down. He says blues was created out of work songs and field hollers and minstrel show music, ragtime, church music, and the folk and popular music of white populations. I don't buy that at all, but that's what he says, and we're going to examine more of that. Now, if you are so interested in calling stuff black and white, let's do this ugly thing. Now, this is where he breaks it down for us, all right? He says work songs are 100% black, field hollers are 100% black, minstrel music is 50% black. He says generous, so he basically says minstrel music is mostly white. But we do know that white musicians were cosplaying or listening to black musicians. So we don't really know what percentage that is, but he decides to give a percentage. He says ragtime is 75% black. Church music is 50% black. Folk and popular music is 0% black. So in his calculations, he said, so the blues is 62.5% black. Think about that. So he's basically saying all these styles of music went into the creation of the blues. So here's what's going on, people. You got to hear, this is unbelievable. So what I did, I asked him, well, where did you get these percentages from? You just clearly made this up. But see, when people are trying to strip your musical heritage away, they're going to find a way to do it. So he's basically saying the blues is not even Black American. So what I did, I said, well, based on your numbers, and if the blues is a fusion, then you could make the argument for all of our genres, can't you? He didn't respond because he understood where I was getting to. Basically, he wants to be able to say, he couldn't say what he actually wanted to say, that none of it is Black American music. But he couldn't bring himself to say it, so he didn't answer the question. I believe he understood if he said yes, that all of it is a fusion, then that would reveal his true motive for making his video about jazz not being Black American music. People, let me tell you, this is real. There is something in the air today. People are trying to remove us. We got to wake up. You know, what I find amazing is that you have two individuals from different parts of the world, yet having the same agenda. This proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is an agenda to erase and remove us from our music culture. People, we got to stop trying to be friends with people who are working against us. When you see other groups from different races cosplaying you, don't be out here saying, oh, you sound great. Oh, God bless you. They're going to replace you. It's no different than you're on the job and somebody from the majority race comes in and you got to train them. And then they end up being your supervisor. This is what's going to happen in the music industry. You're training these people. And they're going to take your place and then tell you that the music that they are singing, that you coach them and help them learn by way of the internet or any other means, they're going to tell you that's not your music. That's American music. Wake up, people.